All right. Hey everybody, Brian from Bearable Traders here. It is Tuesday. It's a Tuesday, February 25th. I didn't get a chance to do a recap video on the weekend just because I was in New York for the meetup, and by the time I got back on Sunday, it was really late and I was totally bagged. So apologies for that, but just try to make it up today here. We've had a couple of rancorous days on the market, down almost 2,000 points here, I guess. 900 today, 900 yesterday. So on the Dow, and yeah, it's just been relentless selling on the coronavirus. And I've been saying all along, uh, even when we dropped a little bit and then pulled back, I kept saying this is not, we're in early innings on this, and I still think there's lots of question marks on where we're going on this thing. But yeah, lots of red in the screen, and that kind of describes the day right there. Little pockets of green there. See that? Was anything spared from the slaughter? Apparently not. And on the week, of course, we've had everything in the red. So let's take a quick look, run through the charts here. I'll go through some of the stuff I'm watching. The transports here, like as I've been saying, like to watch the transports just annihilated here on volume. Um, Getting into a really oversold condition here, though, down below 30 on the RSI. We've basically closed this gap from way back in October 2019. We've closed the gap here. Um, so I'm expecting a bounce. Don't get all excited on the bounce, because I think there may actually even be more downside, but at the very least, we're just so oversold now. I think there's going to be a bit of a relief rally. We'll talk about that in a second. This is the 10-year. Now look at that. I think this is the lowest it's ever been. And obviously the bond guys are telling you where things are going here. Just amazing how this lost it. So here's the Dow. 2 days. We had the first big day down, big gap down. Of course, we had the gap up, and I told people in the room, and we opened up in the morning and we were gapping up. I told people this is probably not going to last, and sure enough, we had another monster sell-off here, and we're right back down to some prior where we broke out here from October. Kind of had this little breakout, and now we've found some support right here. So Uh, I'm thinking if I look back and I compare this, I always like to look back at previous pattern setups. Here's a down day, here's another down day, and then we get this third day where we get a bit of a bounce. So I'm expecting we could gap up tomorrow. I'd be looking for another bit of a sell-off, but then I'd be looking for a reversal, something like this candle right here, and finishing higher. We might get through this 200 moving average. But you can see here RSI, we're really oversold. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm predicting tomorrow. I don't want to go in with any preconceived notions, but that is basically what I'm thinking is going to happen. We may open up a little higher and go higher, but I'm kind of thinking that's where we are. So on the weekly, we're right at the 50-day, holding that on the Dow so far. IWM small caps just to the woodshed, and of course just almost touched this 200-day moving average here and bounced off it right at the end. And again, just massive technical damage here, and it stopped right where pretty close to where we had a prior level of resistance, another bit of a prior level of resistance, pull back and go higher, and now we're down back to that level and the 200-day moving average. Let's go here, and the Qs can be the same story. We kind of pulled back here to this, right to this level where we broke out from beginning of January. So we pretty much wiped out all the gains here on the Qs. And the SPY, again, we lost this level here, but again, everything pretty oversold at this point. and probably due for a bounce. That's what I'm guessing tomorrow. UUP, dollar pulling back here. So we'll talk about the dollar and the strength in the dollar and gold, because they've both been kind of moving in a strange sort of way. But you can see here we got really overbought on the RSI, and that was right at the top here, and now we've got a pullback. So I suspect again we're gonna find some level of support here, and the dollar is going to bounce back. VIX. We'll talk about TVIX in a minute, but really, again, overbought here. So if we get a market bounce tomorrow, this will pull back a bit. So let's see what we've got for actives. Really not very much right now. I do have a little LK. Kind of good to keep an eye on LK. I'll talk about that again on the watch list here, but look at how it's been holding up. Like, it just has been a stellar performer in this pullback here. You know, maybe it's down a little bit from Friday, but wow, it's held up. And these are the kinds of stocks you look for. You know, they do well in a ravaged tape, but then so they should do even better when the market's flat or going higher. And I still think LK is a really good long-term hold. Just keeping that one. Space, I don't have space in my portfolio right now, so I think they reported after the close and they're dropping a bit. So here's the other one I announced in the room on Monday that I got long. I was watching it because it was so oversold here. Dropped down second day, and then we had that big Monday down, and then it started to come back up. So I bought some, announced it in the room. I was in the day trading room at the time, so I didn't get a chance to put it on an email. But you can kind of see here again, really oversold. And I sold some out today, 1337. Also announced that in the room. I still have a little bit left, but I'm thinking here now it may do a pullback, so I might just bail on the rest tomorrow, depending on what it does. If we have an update, maybe that'll pull it higher. But I'll be looking for, I think 14 is going to be a level it might decide to do a bit of a pullback on. So let's just take a quick look at what we got on watch. Again, I think if we get a bounce tomorrow, Baidu didn't actually gap down, but it actually had a pretty decent day on Monday with a big sell-off. Tuesday again didn't have a terrible day, so I'd be watching this one. Here's kind of a double bottom. You could actually say that's a triple bottom there, but seems to be holding this level. So you could watch that, the open, to pick it up. BIMI, been watching this one. It held some moving averages and actually had an up day. Always good to find green stocks on red days, and that's this one looks like it maybe wants to break higher, so I'll be keeping an eye on that one. And gold, you can see here, this is a classic reversal candle here. Really overbought and pullback, and then another pullback today here. But you know, we're going to get maybe a gap fill here, but I would be looking for it to hold this 152 level. And again, going higher while the dollar's going higher, which is unusual. Here's another one, KWeb. Again, something else you could play on a bounce. If some you know, we get some little bit of buying relief here, and this is something that could be good. LK I already talked about. Still like that one. Plug had an inside day here. You can see the price action was inside this previous candle. Even on a Monday, this was up big. Down today, but again, on light volume. So I think keep an eye on Plug. Probably it did get overbought here yesterday, so it's pulled back. Keep an eye on that one. The semis, here's where we broke out from, right at the beginning of December, and here's where we pulled back to magically right there. And so again, a big volume day, a big flush day. I think we bounce tomorrow. Unless, you know, this is all predicated on no significant bad news coming out overnight here. If we get some terrible news, like more countries reporting expanding cases of the virus, that kind of stuff, we may end up continued selling. So again, just keep an eye on your news flow. TNA really just again with the small caps just getting crushed here. Tesla. Here's a classic double top here. 950 was its blow off top here, and again we had this tried to get up through there and just couldn't do it. So now we're pulling back to this this moving average. So I'd be if we get an update, watch for this to bounce back. TVIX. This is the trade I took that I made really nice nice money on, and again it was done in New York during our meeting. I was just watching it during the close on Friday, and I just bought some TVIX because I was, as I do, I look back on patterns. Here's when the virus was first announced. I think it was a Friday as well. And then had that big gap up. I just knew, and my premise was, nothing good. If you're at the start of like the spread of a virus, you're not going to get good news after a day or two. You're 99% chance you're going to get bad news. And this was the sell-off on Friday, and the VIX spiking up. More concerns about the virus, and I just thought, again, over the weekend, there isn't the likelihood of good news regarding the virus, almost non-existent. Likelihood of bad news, pretty strong. So that's why I took this TVIX trade, and again, I got like a 12-point move on that. Risky, because I could have been down $3 or $4. But I figured the risk to reward was pretty good. I just wish I'd have held some back because it opened lower and just ripped higher from here. So, but I think again we're going to get a pullback here, overbought, and sometimes you just have to use. I would call that more of a fundamental analysis trade versus technical, because it was really sort of. Let's go back here. There's really nothing sort of technically about this other than you could say your stop was down here, but that's 38 to 48. That's a pretty ugly risk to reward. So yeah, it was just a fundamental assessment of what was going to happen over the weekend. Oil again just smoked today, so we'll probably get a bit of a bounce tomorrow, I'm guessing, but yeah, oil again, proxy for economic activity. Everyone's concerned now, of course, the economic activity is going to be somewhat subdued with all the, all the things that are happening, flight cancellations, conference cancellations, just, factories running at, half capacity because they can't get people in. I don't know, there's just lots of doom and gloom in the market right now, which doesn't bode well for oil usage. So there you go. All right, well, that's it, everyone. Like I said, I would be watching for a little bit of a relief rally. Do not get excited over this and go all in and think this is the V reversal. I think we're in for more rough ride along the way here. So it's my opinion anyway. So here's my book, How to Swing Trade. If you haven't checked it out already, it's on Amazon. And yeah, so have a good rest of the evening, everyone. We'll see you if you're going to join us in the Bear Bull Trading Room in the morning. Pre-market show will start at 8:30 Eastern Time, and we will be there at the market open, trading the open, and we'll see what happens. All right, have a great rest of the evening, everybody. Ciao for now.